How you all doing, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 14 4 key game picks. Before we talk about week number 14, going back and what happened in week 13, very difficult to say who really was the big winner. But you could make a case that the Patriots were the bigger winner because they embarrassed the Giants on Monday Night Football. Well, Giants basically derped themselves, and all they were was full of derpiness. And to say that the Pats, given that their schedule and what they can control, it's hard to debate whether or not this really is the best team currently in the NFL. Given the fact that the way that Drake May played and the rest of that offense just dismantled that Giants team, it's hard to say did Drake May really make a case for MVP. Hard to say. Because a couple of weeks ago, everybody kept talking it could be Matthew Stafford, it could be Daniel Jones, it could be... It kept on changing because this season really has been really a roller coaster. There really hasn't been that one dominant NFL team all year. I mean, we had a lot of debate whether it was the Colts, whether the Pats, or the Rams. It's hard to say right now going into this stretch now of the regular season as we're heading toward the home stretch towards the end of the season and finding out what the playoff picture is looking like. And you'll see the text on the fly, the current seeds in both the AFC and NFC 1 through 7. But I have to say, if there's a big winner that came out of this week, was definitely the Dallas Cowboys. A team that a lot of us considered they were left for dead. And then they totally embarrassed the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. And given the fact that the Chiefs now, I will say in reality, they are officially now in danger now of missing the postseason. I didn't think at this stretch of a Patrick Mahomes era Kansas City Chiefs that this Chiefs team is in a serious amount of danger of not making the playoffs. And the way things are going right now, it could happen for real. Unless if the Chiefs have any sort of magic BS left, can they go down the final stretch and still try to steal a playoff spot? Tough to say given the remaining games. Obviously, they still have divisional games to play. Broncos, Chargers, of course, a couple of easy ones with the Raiders. And it's very, very hard to say how this is going to pan out the rest of the way in the AFC, because really, especially going into the NFC, I don't know what's going on with the defending champions. They get humiliated on Black Friday, and rightfully so, and everybody in Philly already calling for Sirianni's head as well as their offensive coordinator, despite the fact this is a team that won the Super Bowl last year. It's hard to say for me if the Bears are the real deal, because they've really been playing great football down the stretch. I still have questions about their defense, and especially the Bears I will get into because they are going to be the teams I will talk about in my 4 key game picks a little bit later on in the video. The way this team has come together and the way that Ben Johnson has got this team really buying in, could the Bears be a Super Bowl threat? I don't know. But I will say it's one enough for the Eagles right now. Their lead in the NFC East slowly starting to slip away. Given the fact that the Cowboys are really the only good team in that could really go toe-to-toe. Because remember, they've beaten them the second time, and the Cowboys are starting to believe that they could possibly steal the NFC East away. Really tough to say. A lot went on in week number 13. I need to get into my picks now for week 14, and we need to talk about it right now. All right. A lot of good key games this weekend on Sunday. Good. It was really hard to pick the four teams that I really should talk about. But here are the ones I felt that probably should get very good attention here. All right. Beginning with key game number 1, I'm going into the AFC South. It's a big one here. The Colts versus the Jaguars. The Jaguars and Duval have really started to come alive now. They're winning their last few games. Victories over the Chargers, and obviously a sorry Titans team that's basically going for the tank bowl. In other words, they're trying to fight for the number 1 pick again. Daniel Jones, 14 of 27, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception, in a big loss to the Texans last week. Trevor Lawrence in a big win over the Titans. He went 16 of 27, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Indy's offense has a lot of question marks going into this game, and especially the fact that Daniel Jones has an injured hip. And I'm starting to wonder if it's really affecting his his throwing motion and the way he's able to scramble out of the pocket. Because despite he played decently against the Texans, but they ended up losing, I don't know how long the Colts are going to keep him out there if something goes wrong, and they're already risking that fibula getting more and more fractured, which could potentially put him out the rest of the season. But if the Colts are going to win against the Jaguars, Jonathan Taylor really is going to have maybe the game of his life. In other words, he's going to have to go off against that against that Jaguars defense. And also Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, and Tyler Warren, all of them have to help out in the passing game for Daniel Jones because they really were MIA last week. Especially Daniel Jones basically struggling a lot just to try to get the offense going, and a crucial fourth down that they missed. Now, for the Jaguars to win, obviously, running back Travis Etienne, excuse me if I butchered his name, he's got to be big in the running game for them. Brian Thomas and Jacoby Myers have got to be also huge for him in the passing game, because remember, they don't have Travis Hunter for the rest of the season, so they're really down one man in terms of wide receivers. But really, their defense has really got to neutralize Jonathan Taylor if he gets that running game going and if he goes off. Because this game's going to be close. The Jaguars the Colts are a 1.5 point favorite. And really, that number will definitely go to 1. It's going to be a tight ball game for sure in Duval, in Jacksonville. But I'm going to go with the Jaguars. The Colts offense is really struggling. Their offensive line is having issues. And Houston's defense did a great job on them. Now the Jaguars, they've been pretty good at home lately. Only lost I think only 2 home games all season, but they've been a pretty good home team. They've been a pretty good team at home. And a home field advantage will definitely play a role in this game, especially in that tropical heat in Florida. I'm picking the Jaguars. I think they will upset the Colts here. The Colts, especially if Daniel Jones continues to have pain in his hip and the issues that he's having in throwing and having to throw the ball, it's really going to really hurt them. It's a 50-50 toss-up who wins this game here in a crucial showdown here in the AFC South for first place, as the Jaguars currently hold the edge right now against the Colts for the division. And this game will definitely see who has the edge in this division, or have at least a sizable lead. I think the Jaguars will barely beat the Colts. It's not a sure pick here because it's definitely going to be a tight ball game all the way. I'm picking the Jaguars over the Colts. Key game number 2, a big showdown, a big one in the AFC North. Steelers versus the Ravens. Ravens are a 6-point favorite in this one here. That number will probably go to 5.5 maybe. Big question marks for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers got hurt late in the game. Basically the game was out of reach for the Steelers against the Bills, and there's going to be question marks on who's going to get the start here. Is it going to be Maya Rudolph or is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? On the Ravens side, they lost badly to the Bengals on Thanksgiving night. Lamar Jackson went 17 of 32, 246 yards, and no touchdowns, but 1 interception. Both these teams, especially in a division that really is pretty bad this year, I didn't think that the AFC North would be this bad. But somebody's going to win it. Somebody's going to be in the postseason. Somebody's going to win this division. And no question, this basically even though it's only one of 2 meetings already, this is the first meeting of the year between these 2 teams, this could decide the division right here. Now, for the Steelers to win, everybody on that offense has got to get something going here. Besides whoever is going to be the quarterback, whether it's Rudolph or Rodgers. Jalen Warren, the running back. DJ Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Darnell Washington. Someone's got to help out Rodgers here, because or Rudolph. Whoever helps out the quarterback, because 7 points, all they scored against the Bills, and especially with a defense that's depleted right now with injuries, somebody offensively has got to score some points for the Steelers here. Ravens side, Derrick Henry needs to have a breakout game somehow in this. He's got to have a breakout game. find a way to break through that Steelers defense and get that running game going. DeAndre Hopkins, Rashid, and Mark Andrews have got to help out Lamar in the passing game for sure. Because defense-wise, the Ravens is pretty banged up defensively as the Steelers are. And something's got to give between these two teams. And obviously, this could be a back-and-forth affair between these two teams. But who wins this game here? I'm going to go with the Ravens. The Steelers' defense has a ton of injuries. And basically, their defense basically is depleted. I'm picking the Ravens. I think that Derrick Henry will get that running game going against that Steeler D to help out Lamar Jackson to ease off the pressure. And I'm picking the Ravens in this one here, though I think they'll have the edge in the AFC North for now. Ravens over the Steelers at -6. Key game number 3. I think a lot of people, if you're a fan of these two teams, have been anticipating this matchup. And it's a big one here. Going into the NFC North. Bears versus the Packers, obviously the oldest rivalry in the NFL, and the stakes could not be any more bigger given the fact the Bears are currently in first place and the Packers are in second place. Basically, who's going to have the edge on the division lead in this division? Caleb Williams went 17 of 36, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in a huge victory last week against the Eagles. Jordan Love, 18 of 30, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interception in a big victory against the Lions last week. Packers are a 6.5-point favorite. And I will say that number might go to 6, maybe even 5.5. For the Bears to win this game, their defense has got to play basically the best game all season. Because they know the Packers defense is very good. But their defense has got to find a way to get to Jordan Love and put a stop to their offense. But on the offensive side, Caleb Williams has got to be flawless. He's got to have a good game in order to keep the Packers offense off the field. Can DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore break through that Packers defense? Because it's really the only lines of offense that they have right now for the Bears. But luckily, somehow they're winning games. But this is definitely going to be the toughest game they've had all season, especially against your arch rival. For the Packers to win, obviously, Jacobs has got to run through that Bears defense, especially because the Bears defense, especially their secondary, isn't all that great. Romeo Doubs and Musgrave have to dominate the Bears secondary. So who's going to win this football game here? I'm going with the Packers. Their defense is definitely going to get to Caleb Williams. That offensive line has got to find a way, especially you give the fact that Michael Parsons is definitely going to be out for blood to try to sack Caleb Williams. And who knows who knows how many sacks he might get in this game. I think the Packers are going to have the edge in this one here, especially because the game's in Lambeau, and definitely they'll have the division lead for sure. Don't call me on it. It might be a tight ball game, but I think the Packers pull it out in the fourth quarter, and they'll beat the Bears in this one here. I'm picking the Packers at -6.5. And key game number 4, it is the Texans versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite. Expect that number to probably go to 3, maybe 2.5. C.J. Stroud in a big victory over the Colts. He went 22 of 35, 276 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. The defense really did a great job, especially the running game got going with Woody Marks and was able to get the running game going to score. Now, Patrick Mahomes went 23 of 34, 261 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interception in the loss against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Casey's offense has got to wake up in this game. Can Hunt get the running game going? Can Rice, Worthy, Brown, and Kelsey help out Mahomes? For some reason, this offense, despite the fact that they only lost by 3, they got to... I don't know if it's really their offenses really have to score more points, or really is the Chiefs' defense a problem? For some reason, Spagnuolo's defense has really had a hard time. Especially in big games, they've lost to the Broncos, to the Cowboys. They barely beat the Colts. And you got to wonder if Casey's defense is having a hard time trying to stop the opposition. And especially going up against a very good Texans defense that basically will do anything to get to Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing. That's going to be the key for the Texans. Can their defense get to Mahomes and find a way to neutralize their offense? Woody Marks, Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins all have to be big parts in this game to really help out C.J. Stroud, to get that offense going, to really try to pull an upset here on Sunday night. And I'm actually going to go with the Texans. Their defense. If they get to Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be a tough game for the Chiefs again. And this could put the Chiefs in even greater danger now, missing the playoffs if they lose to the Texans. I think the Texans, this won't be probably a high-scoring game. It's probably going to be low-scoring, maybe like a 17-10 or a 17-13, 17-14 type of game. So I don't expect a lot of big offense in this game here because the Texans defense is pretty good, and the Chiefs have got to find a way to break through that defense, or this could be another lost game for them. I'm picking the Texans here at plus 3.5. I think they'll barely beat the Chiefs here, given the fact the Chiefs are struggling offensively, but it's really, I don't know if their defense is really more the problem than their offense. I'll pick the Texans here at plus 3.5. They'll beat the Chiefs. Please check the description below, everybody, for all of my Week 14 picks, and I will talk to you guys next week when I make my picks for Week 15 as we're getting close towards the end of the regular season. Take care, everybody, and enjoy your football weekend.